Catch a Falling Star by John Donne. Go and catch a falling star, get with child a mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. Teach me to hear mermaids singing, or to keep off envy's stinging, and find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. If thou beest born to strange sights, things invisible to see, ride 10,000 days and nights, till age snow-white hairs on thee. Thou, when thou return'st, wilt tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. If thou find'st one, let me know, such a pilgrimage were sweet. Yet do not, I would not go, though at next door we might meet. Though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to 2 or 3. So, Go and Catch a Falling Star song by John Donne, one of the metaphysical poets, T.S. Eliot's metaphysical poets. So, what's metaphysical about it? Usually we think that a metaphysical poem has a long drawn-out conceit or image running through the whole poem. Here, it's about not being able to find a woman anywhere who is both beautiful and honest. So at the beginning, that is not really clear, because the poet just talks about various impossible things, famous, memorable images. Go and catch a falling star, get with child a mandrake root. The mandrake root was associated with evil doings and witches and warlocks, and it's a little bit shaped like a human being, so impossible things. We cannot catch a falling star, we cannot get with child a mandrake root. We don't know where past years go either. Tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. So these are 4 things that we cannot possibly know the answer to, and there is no indication of what's going on, what the purpose of these impossible images are. Teach me to hear mermaids singing, another one, a 5th. Or to keep off envy's stinging, a little bit of cynicism coming in here. So we are learning what kind of person this writer is. So he thinks it's impossible for human beings not to feel envy. Not everybody would think that, or jealousy. It's probably true. Maybe that tells you something about me, but perhaps most people would agree that it's very difficult not to feel jealousy, but most people would prefer not to say it so directly. So we have the idea here that this is a writer who is very cynical, and we're not sure why he's giving us all these impossible images, but they are very, very memorable images, and they stay in our mind. Go and catch a falling star, get with child the mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are, a little bit of sadness coming in. The fleeting years passing, which we get older and we don't know where the years went. Or who cleft the devil's foot. We know that the devil's foot is cleaved in 2, like in certain animals, a pig's foot. But we don't know who did it, do we? Teach me to hear mermaids singing. A little bit of longing and for beauty here, but we know that mermaids don't actually exist, so yet another impossible image. And then we find out, I was going to say we find out what it's all about, but we don't in this stanza. The next part is, and find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. So the writer sees himself as an honest man, somebody who is able to see deception in others and can protect himself and others perhaps from being deceived, and find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. I think it's the next stanza where we actually find what it's all about. Running through the poem, there is this sort of cynical sense of urgency, and it's kind of, it's sinister. There is an undercurrent of evil even here. If thou beest born to strange sights, things invisible to see, ride 10,000 days and nights, till age snow white hairs on thee. So if you think you are special and you can see things other people can't, well, maybe you can see things which are invisible to other people. Well, ride 10,000 days and nights. That's impossible. Till age snow white hairs on thee. Another impossible thing. But now we learn what he's talking about in the next lines. Thou, when thou returnest, will tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. So this is what it was all about, all these impossible images leading to this statement that it's impossible to find a woman who is both beautiful and honest. That's as impossible as catching a falling star or hearing a mermaid singing. Riding 10,000 days and nights, knowing who cleft the devil's foot, or where all the past years are. All these impossible things were leading up to the most impossible thing of all, which is finding a woman that is both beautiful and honest. So our earlier idea that this is someone who is cynical and with a particular point of view, sour, was true. But it's also wonderful imagery, and this is a man who is in control of language, and he knows what he wants to say, and he says it in a fairly complex and complicated way. There is this image running through the poem about the impossibility of finding a beautiful, honest woman. But he doesn't make it obvious from the beginning. You have to read right to the end of the second stanza before you realize what all the images were about at the beginning. And then the final stanza becomes even more cynical. If thou find'st one, let me know. Such a pilgrimage was sweet. Yet do not, I would not go. Though at next door we might meet, though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to 2 or 3. So he says, if you find a beautiful, honest woman, let me know. But in the final stanza he says, but then again, don't bother, because it's not worth me going to see her, because by the time I arrive, she will have proved herself false. Though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to 2 or 3. So this cynicism is running through the whole poem, as is that central image of a woman being, it being impossible for a woman to be both true and beautiful. It's cynical, but it's very clever. He uses language in complex ways, and the central image runs right through from the beginning to the end, and we don't even know what it's all about. In the first stanza, it's only in the second stanza that we learn what he's talking about, and then in the final stanza it becomes even more cynical and There is black humor here. It's full of black humor. This is metaphysical then. It's an image, an extended image that runs through from the beginning to the end. And all the three stanzas of the poem are connected by this central conceit. What about the language? What about the vocabulary? What about the meter? Well, the vocabulary is mostly simple, but it's also sort of arcane as well. It's not all, the words are not always words everybody would know about, or the ideas behind them, sometimes quite unusual. Get with child, the mandrake root. You would have to know all about the ideas of magic from the time to understand this, and how wizards and witches used certain plants to make potions and spells. Similarly with the cleaving of the devil's foot, it speaks of an imagination which is very acute. Most people wouldn't even think of such a question. Teach me to hear mermaids singing, something more poetic there, perhaps. The poet's longing to hear a beautiful song. So this is a complex writer, cynical, but at the same time master of language, and can have sometimes the heart of a poet. The meter is the opposite of iambic pentameter. Remember, iambic pentameter is 5 units of unstressed, stressed feet. Here we have a tetrameter, so it's 8 syllables a line, and it's the opposite of iambic. It's trochaic. It's a trochaic meter, which means stressed syllable followed by unstressed. Go and catch a falling star. Get with child a mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are, all who cleft the devil's foot. See, so it's a completely different effect to iambic rhythm. This is trochaic rhythm. Stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed. 8 syllables. It's trochaic tetrameter. And the effect is sinister and kind of makes you uneasy kind of rhythm. It's the impetus makes you gallop along quite quickly. Go and catch a falling star. Get with child a mandrake root. But it's not soothing like iambic meter is. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? No, this is much more in your face and threatening in its effect. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines of trochaic tetrameter, rhyming A, B, C, C. Go and catch a falling star. Get with child the mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. Teach me to hear mermaids singing, or to keep off envy's stinging. And then we have 2 very short little lines with only 2 syllables in each, and find what wind, and find what wind, still trochaic, and find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. So the last three lines then are different. So it's A, B, A, B, C, C, D, D, D. But the final line is back to tetrameter again, serves to advance an honest mind. So it's a complex and complicated verse structure, but it has the effect of letting him pose a question and slow the meter up when he perhaps wants to delay giving an answer, and then speed the meter up when he's ready to give the answer. So it has a very particular kind of effect, and it's very complicated. If thou beest born to strange sights, things invisible to see, ride 10,000 days and nights, till age snow white hairs on thee. Thou, when thou returnest, will tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. So again, those two short syllables, and swear, nowhere, it's trochaic, stressed, unstressed. So back to tetrameter, 8 syllables for the last line, but same rhyme. And swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. So yeah, you get that feeling of him holding things back until he gives you what he really wants to say in the final line. And swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. So it's a complex verse structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines in each stanza, with differing length of lines, but always trochaic. Trochaic, remember, stressed, unstressed, the opposite of iambic. Mostly trochaic, tetrameter, 8 syllables a line. If thou beest born to strange sights, or if thou find'st one, let me know, such a pilgrimage were sweet. Yet do not, I would not go, though at next door we might meet. Though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to 2 or 3. So, yeah, 9 lines. It's a very strange sort of verse structure, but it's very effective, it's very complex, it's very well thought out. It has a central image, a conceit, running through the poem from the beginning to the end, a long extended metaphor, we can say, lots of other imagery in it too. The idea of catching a falling star, getting a child with mandrake root. What else? Well, there are a lot of metaphors. Ride 10,000 days and nights till age snow white hairs on thee. It's not really a simile or a clear image, but it's something that's impossible, and it's really a metaphor. So it has this extended conceit about not being able to find a beautiful and honest woman, running through the whole poem, three stanzas, or 3 verses, and each verse has this structure of 9 lines. So mostly tetrameter, trochaic tetrameter, except the 7th and the 8th, which are two short lines with only two syllables to kind of force the final conclusion, or hold it back for a short time and then force the final conclusion. Yet she will be false ere I come to 2 or 3. Let's just read that final stanza. If thou find'st one, let me know. Such a pilgrimage was sweet, yet do not, I would not go. Though at next door we might meet, though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to 2 or 3. So 9 lines, trochaic tetrameter, rhyming A, B, C, C, D, 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 and with the 7th and the 8th lines super short. Yet she will be, then back to the tetrameter, 8 syllables for the last line, false ere I come to 2 or 3. So I would suggest this is a very complex poem written by a master in the use of language, and also deep thinker who is able to construct his poem so that he lets one central image, an extended metaphor, run through from the beginning to the end, and everything else is subservient to that one central conceit. And it's very clever the way he constructs his poem. He tells us about various impossible things in the first stanza, and these lines are very, very famous. These images: go and catch a falling star, get with child the mandrake root. And by the end of the first stanza, we still don't know what he's talking about. In the second stanza, he tells us that he's talking about the impossibility of, the ultimate impossibility of finding a beautiful and true woman, and all these other images of impossibility were leading up to that. However impossible they may be, they're not as impossible as finding a beautiful and true woman. And then finally, deep cynicism in the final stanza, where he asks the person he's speaking to let him know if he should find a beautiful woman who is true. And then he said, no, don't bother, because I know that even if you tell me you found one, by the time I am able to get there, she will have proved herself false and dishonest. So there is an awful lot of black humor in the poem. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people will, perhaps particularly the ladies, will find it untrue and also insulting. But it's from a different age, and you know, he was a moralist. He from a different age. He probably saw women as a weaker sex, and he was a priest, and there were certain ideas around at the time that he would buy into, like women are less trustworthy than men. So, you know, we don't think that now, but you have to see it in the context of the time. We can say it's very, very clever, and Donne proves himself a master of language here, with the structure of the poem and this extended conceit running through it. So I hope this short analysis has been useful. Thank you.